Did you call bank? I called game.
What's good, podcast world? What's good, YouTube? Back for another episode of Charge It to the Game Sports Podcast. As you can see, I'm a little shorthanded today, but I'm joined by a beautiful lady, Alaysha Ford, former track and field star from the University of Houston, is joining us. Z is coming. He's actually stuck in traffic. Jay won't be joining us today. As you know, he's talked briefly about his MMA career and things like that. So he's getting it in the gym and things of that nature. But before we get started, everybody, if you're on some of the podcast platforms, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, if you're on the YouTube page, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you missed our last show, we had a great one for you. We talked and chatted about the Aaron Donald versus TJ Watt Defensive Player of the Year debate. It was heated. It was a lot of sweating, yelling, arguing. So if you enjoy that type of stuff, great. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, Alaysha, how you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for asking.
Good. You look nice today.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So, thanks. First of all, thanks for coming on the show. Like I said, I'll be joined by Z a little later, but like I said, thanks for coming on the show and taking the invite to, come on and chat with us about your collegiate track and field career.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So let's dig into it. But before we get started with like your collegiate stuff, so tell us about your early sports background, whether that be high school or even before then. Were you always, because people obviously know you for your jumping abilities, like what other sports did you play in your early childhood? And just overall, give us a brief synopsis of your early life.
Okay, well, I started playing basketball in second grade, started running track in fourth grade, and I continued those sports up until high school, and then I got a track scholarship. Decided to go to the track scholarship over basketball. So,
okay. Where did you play? What position did you play in basketball?
I was a shooting guard.
What? You were a shooting guard, so you were a scorer.
Yes.
You were a bucket getter.
Top scorer.
Oh.
Let me correct you. The top scorer.
Okay. All right. My bad. Go ahead.
So yeah, my passion was basketball, and I was talking to a college coach, and college is a business, and the coach left and went to Texas Tech. I was actually talking to the coach at UTSA. So she left and went to Texas Tech, and new coach came in, and she wanted to start from scratch. So I decided to take a track scholarship.
Okay. All right. So like you said, new coach came in, things didn't quite work out for the best and everything like that. But as far as your as far as that goes, could you elaborate a little bit upon, because we have some former athletes and even current athletes that listen to the show, as far as, they might be in a situation, because, since then, a lot has changed with like the transfer portals and things like that, where athletes can pretty much go and choose as they please. What is some advice that you would like to give to some young athletes upon choosing the right university and, just the recruiting in general for collegiate sports? Because like you said, you kind of touched upon it. I mean, collegiate sports is a business, and especially in this day and age with these athletes now getting paid. Like, what are some advice you would like to give them as far as making the right choice?
Yeah, do your homework, do your research, ask hard questions. I transferred. I actually started off I accepted a full scholarship at Texas State University. So I spent my first 2 years at Texas State, and my coach that recruited me the day I moved into my dorm, I received a letter stating that he accepted a head coach position at South Plains. And he was the main reason why I went there. He was a top jumps coach. And I knew he was going to help me reach those goals that I had set for myself. And so went there, they didn't replace him. And so I didn't have a jump coach my first 2 years. Loved the
Wow.
school, but I was not getting the coaching that I needed. And I went through that in high school. I went to a small 2A school. Um, I had 85 students in my graduation class. So super,
85?
yes,
Oh my gosh.
super small 2A school. And I pretty much coached myself throughout high school. I ran
Wow.
AAU track, and a
Okay.
coach saw me and wanted to work with me. So my mom would take me to meet this coach. She would drive an hour and a half on Sundays, and I would meet with him and work with him. But as far as high school, I didn't have that. I didn't have that coach. So I would literally make up drills, and my mom would come out there and watch me and record me. So I was on my own, and I really looked forward to having an actual coach in college. And so I was disappointed when the coach left, and then they didn't replace the coach. And so I was really on my own again, and I decided to transfer. Did my homework as far as jump coaches, and I thought, the University of Houston, I would get that coaching that I needed, but it's still, I felt like looking back, like I really was, I feel like I didn't reach my full potential as a jumper.
Why
I
is
mean,
that? This was the coaching?
yeah, the coaching. It was
Yeah.
just the coaching. I mean, in high school, I went to state all 4 years in triple jump. I won my junior and senior year, and I was jumping, I mean, 30, high 39s.
Oh my God. And you said this is without, you are literally self-taught. So you had there was no track coach in your high
There was a
school?
track coach, but football trumps all sports.
Right. So football,
So,
and you're from Texas, so I probably should
yeah.
have. So football is king. So
Yeah, so I mean, they put these football coaches. Well, as a high school coach, most schools require the coaches to coach at least two sports. And so they main sport might be, football, but then they just get thrown in track, and they're just there. And I was a head track coach, so I've seen it.
yeah, that's ridiculous though. And see why you were talking. Z, thanks for joining us, man. I was actually just talking about Alaysha. She was talking and elaborating on her high school career. She was a self-taught track and field star, and I mean, they had a coach, but at the same time, it was pretty much Alaysha. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It was the football coach acting as the track coach, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, that's incredible. You know what I mean? So if you do that, you really weren't probably taught the right techniques, and
No.
along the way, and that day and age, in this day and age, I mean, that's key. You know what I mean? So what were some drills that you did when you were self-taught, when you were trying to really teach yourself in high school? Because I could not imagine, just for me, I said, I'm a former football player. I play basketball, but former football player, I cannot imagine being in high school and not getting proper coaching. And then also, how did you scholarship out as a track and field star with no coaching? That's incredible to me.
I mean, like I said, I was jumping 39s. So, I mean, and I went to state all 4 years, so I was known. I was like, everybody knew me. And so as far as drills, I would just make up drills. I would put a hurdle out in the middle of the sand pit and just jump over
Wow.
it, doing stuff for height, working on my height. As far as technique for triple jump, and this is something I learned as a coach. I'm like, gosh, I wasn't taught properly.
Yeah,
The most important phase in triple jump, I never got that down as a jumper.
man, that's
And
crazy.
so, yeah, but I was able to coach my girls and let them know, just the rhythm of the phases and how you have to level out those phases. 3 phases. And
Right,
my first and third phase was my longest phase. My second phase was the shortest, but that was the most critical phase.
man. That's incredible. And I'm gonna ask you some more stuff about the technique and stuff like that. So you obviously scholarshiped out, like you said, you attended Texas State for a few years.
For 2 years, and then I transferred to U of H.
Okay, so you transferred there. So what was your experience? What was the difference in competition level at, transferring between the schools, if there was one? Was there any type of difference as far as like your competition or just the schools in general? And what made you want to transfer from that school to University of Houston?
Yeah, so Texas State, it was in track and field was considered D1. We didn't travel out the state. Like I didn't feel like a true collegiate track athlete. Like we took we didn't travel out the state. Never traveled out the state. We would drive everywhere, either vans or we'll do what is it called? A charter bus.
Charter bus, okay.
And so the training was different. I mean, we had an off season, in season, but we didn't compete in off season. And so at U of H, and then weights, as far as weights, the weight room, the training was different as well. So when I transferred to U of H, my body took a hit because we'll be in a weight room 5 days out the week. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're lifting after a workout. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we lifting before a workout.
Wow.
And so, and then we traveled. I mean, we traveled New York, New Mexico. I mean, we went all over to compete, and we also competed indoor season during off season. So we would go to Texas A&M. They always have a track meet in December, and so they would overtrain us during off season. And so
at Texas State or Houston?
At U of H. So I feel like I was at my best during off season. So we got to in season. I was always hurt. Like
worn
my
down,
body, right? Yeah, it's just like my body couldn't handle like just all the training. And so that's another reason why I said I just didn't feel like I would reach my full potential, because I was never healthy during season. Like I had a stress fracture, I strained my groin, and I mean all the weightlifting. I mean, and we would run like hills and run like we would be in a parking garage running like hills and stuff. Like it was just crazy. And I'm like, I didn't sign up for this. Like I'm a jumper. So I felt like a sprinter when I was at U of H. I worked out with the sprinters, and I mean,
they had everybody work. They didn't have like specific like
the jumpers and sprinters work together.
Really?
We train together. Yes.
Is that common? Is that how things normally are?
I feel like it's. I don't think. Well, they were saying because as a jumper, just you need the speed and like your form to work on your form and for your approach. Yeah, so I get, their approach, but I'm just like, I literally felt, I was out there in blocks. I was just like, what are you doing? Like my coach tried to put me in a 60. I was like, Coach, now
They tried to put you in a what?
He tried to put me in a 60, like during indoor season, like the 60-meter dash.
Okay. Really?
Yes, and I was
so you were fast too.
No.
What the hell is he doing? Put you in the 60 meters?
I could jump. You know how coaches are. Like they just feel like, because even when I was running summer track, they always wanted me to run the 400, like to get in shape and for endurance. And I'm just like, no, I don't need that.
Yeah, you don't need it. That's
keep
crazy.
me on the runway.
Right. What were the differences between indoor preparation versus the outdoor season preparation, and was the competition similar? Was it the same competitors in conference and in the school?
So indoor season, you're on a bank track inside, and so the track is just 200 meters. So if you run at 400, you got to run twice. And as far as competition wise, it just depends on the schools, because some schools, like their strategy was to save their top athletes towards like the end of the indoor season. So, or you'll see like jumpers like running 60s and stuff. Like it's just, I feel like it's still used as it's like a extended off season to me. Like outdoor is where you are focus on that specific event. Like even the training, like I didn't run as much. Like I was on a runway, like focus on like getting my mark down, working on just techniques. So indoor is just, It's different. It is different. Like even like I said, the track is different.
Is it a different makeup? Like I wanted to ask you that. Like I noticed like the tracks in indoor and outdoor, like is there different particles and materials that are ingrained into the track, or is it just more or less the same? Or
it's different because sometimes you'll run, it just depends on the indoor facility, but most indoor facilities, they have a bank track. And so it's like, it's uneven. Like all the curves might be like a higher.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah. I can see that from even like being, watching it on TV.
On TV, you can tell.
Yeah. It looks crazy to me. You know what I mean?
So you really have to be careful. Like you've never ran on a bank track. Like, I mean, and you're sprinting, you still running against time. So you really have to be careful. And make sure you don't overturn, or run off the track.
Man, that's wild to me. So, like I said, while you're at Houston, I mean, you're a very well accomplished lady in the triple jump, and you're at long jump as well. So, I guess what was your best event? So, from looking at the stats, I'm seeing mostly in triple jump. What were some of the things that made you really successful? And like you said, this is just based off, you, like I said, just you having injuries and things of that nature, and proper coaching, and even having them, train you as a as a sprinter as opposed to a jumper. Like what were some of the things that made you successful while you were in college?
In college was tough.
Oh yeah.
How so? It was tough. Like I feel like I didn't receive the coaching that I should have received. And then, everyone is good when you go to college.
Yeah.
Just that transition from high school for being on top to now, like everybody's jumping in the 40s and just trying to just stay motivated. I feel like I lost my confidence as a collegiate athlete,
really?
Honestly, as a jumper.
What do you think made help you lose your confidence? Like, what do you think was one of the things that helped lose your confidence?
I wasn't hitting the marks that I felt like I should have been hitting. Like I had high goals set for myself, and I am super critical. I am super critical on myself, and even like now being in corporate America, like that is me. And I was like that in high school. If we lose a game, I'm pissed. I'm somewhere crying, upset.
Yeah. So are you a sore loser?
I am. I'm a sore loser.
I'm telling you, man, there's nothing wrong with being a sore loser. When you get to a certain level, as long as you're not pouting and screaming and doing something crazy, because if you look at some of the greats, they don't really accept failure, that great. You know what I mean? They might be, but like I said, sorry to cut you off, but go ahead.
No, so I just like my first year at Texas State, and I'm being transparent. You held to a higher standard. I was on full scholarship, and I didn't hit the marks that they were looking for. I didn't score at conference. So after my first year, the head track coach, she cut my scholarship.
Really? You can do that?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, in track, that's the thing, it's not considered like a full scholarship is about 80%. Like they say full scholarship, 80% will cover everything. And so with track, you're given so many scholarships. And so coaches can put like 4 athletes on one scholarship. They can give each athlete 25%. Like you don't have to offer a full scholarship to track athletes. Like after I won state my senior year, Texas A&M called me. And so they had pretty much ran out their track scholarship money. And so they were like, we can put you on partial and put you on books. And then the next year when we have some more money, we can give you more. And I'm just like, at that time, looking back, I'm like, I should have accepted that because I knew I would have gotten the coaching that I needed.
Right.
I would have been fulfilled because now I feel like I still have that void because I know I was a better jumper.
And you didn't reach your full potential because like you said, and you said that happened your senior year of high school, right? because, like you said, and then you ultimately took the scholarship at Texas State, but which is obviously it's not a powerhouse. It's not Texas A&M. You know what I mean? But like you said, it just goes back to like if you would have I'm pretty sure you think about it all the time. Just think if you would have went to Texas A&M and took that partial instead of going to Texas State where it's full, but at the same time, the coaching might have went different or you might have performed better.
Yeah. And that's why I say that's the advice I would give. Like, do your homework. Like, don't go because it's a full scholarship. Like, you have to have, I mean, if you're using this, the scholarship, I mean, using, your athletic ability to get to where it just depends on as far as the goals that you have for yourself. I've made peace with my decision because, I had to use my talent to get to where I'm at now. And so whether that's, I got my education paid for. And that's so, and I knew I didn't want to pursue a professional track career. So, I mean, I look at it and I can let it go. Like I'm at peace with, my decision. But I would say I was the first in my family to go on a track go play collegiate, like be a collegiate athlete. So it was just like, one of those deals, like I was the first to do it in my family. So it's just like, I learned from it. I was able to help like my brother. And then, I mean, as a coach, I was able to help my athletes, and I have like cousins that run track as well. So I'm able to help them. And sometimes you go through things in life, is not for you, it's for someone else. So I've accepted that. But I mean, yes, that, and then not knowing, and I think what got me, the coach, another thing at Texas State, it was a top jump coach. He's at Alabama right now. He's a really good coach. He left. So that's something that, I couldn't foresee that. Like it just happened unexpectedly. So, but then I'm like, it was Texas A&M.
Right. You know what I mean? But like you said, as long as you made peace with him, like you said, you got to look for you got to, at the end of the day, and it's hard for a lot of these young athletes where they think, they're going to go pro. They're going to go pro. And a lot of these guys and ladies, they think they're just going to go pro, and then it doesn't happen. And, education comes second. But like you said, you use that as a building block. You use these scholarships to finish up your degree and get school paid off. So, it's good that you were able to do that. As far as your the triple jump technique now, because I was just watching it. It just seems like it just seems like it's so difficult, and like just the explosiveness of jumping off one leg and the stepping, and like, can you just explain that? Like, how did you even get that form down?
Okay, so I first learned how to triple jump in 5th grade. I was at
the 5th grade.
The 5th grade.
You were that coordinated.
I was at. We had.
Did you ever do long jump, or was it just straight?
Yeah, I did long jump.
Where you want to go?
Yeah, so I went to state in long jump as well, all 4 years. Yes. Actually, it was 3 years. 3 years. 3 years. 3 out of 4 years, and then I placed second my senior year in long jump.
Nice. Okay.
So triple jump.
You were a conference champion in triple jump, or
I was at Texas State. I won conference. I did. I won conference, and so during indoor season, I asked for a release. Like I had made up in my mind I was transferring. So won conference, made it to regionals, and they wouldn't let me go to regionals if I transferred. So
really?
Yeah, they gave me an ultimatum. They were just like, if you want to go to regionals, you have to stay here.
Who was it? Like the athletic director or something?
Oh, it was the president got involved.
Really? Because they wanted you to represent their school, because that's more money for them too.
Yes, we were trying to appeal, like my mom and I, we were trying to appeal their decision. But they were trying to hold me there. And it was like, we're going to put you back on, a full ride scholarship. And, if you want to go to regionals, you have to stay here. And I'm just like, no. Yeah. Like when I asked for my transfer, the head coach told me that she felt like I need to go to a D2 school.
You're kidding me. So they tried to, but what was the reason behind that?
Because I didn't perform to their standards my freshman year. It was just like, I didn't redshirt. Like I actually competed my freshman year. And so they had these high expectations and I just did not jump to their standards. I didn't score at conference. It's a business.
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business. And so, they cut like a lot of the freshmen that came in with me. Our scholarships were cut.
That's ridiculous, man. I mean, like I said, it's just goes to show you, man. I mean, sometimes it's all about making the right decision of where you go to school. But I know you were talking a little bit before Z was asking another question about just like the triple jump technique. Like you said, so you started in like the 5th grade. Like that's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it was a field day and the high school track athletes, they were running each event, and so they showed me how to triple jump. They showed me and I got it down the first time. And so ever since then, I started triple jumping. Yeah, so 5th grade, learned how to triple jump. And then when I got to, because I think in summer track, I think I had to wait until I was in 6th grade or 7th grade in order to compete in triple jump.
Okay.
So start competing. I still have track records. Like in junior high, I was jumping like 35s.
That's ridiculous. Like what set you apart, you think? Like just your just amazing athletic ability? Was it a certain way that you did it, or like how?
It was my first and last phase. Like I was explosive. Like my
Is
legs.
That the key?
I mean,
first and last.
So the key is to level, like to even out the phases. So the first phase is a hop. The second phase, see, this is what I learned. So when I learned how to do it, I was stepping on the second phase. The second phase is actually a bound.
What is that? What is a bound? What is that? No,
I can't even show you.
Oh no, it's all good.
So it's a drill that you do. It's an explosive drill to help you transition you to the next phase and the last phase in triple jump.
Okay.
And so I was actually selling myself short, but making up on my last phase because it was so long.
Right.
But if I would have learned how to triple jump like from the beginning properly, I would have been, an even better jumper.
Oh, you would have killed him. You were doing it, like you said, without doing, what you were supposed to do, Yeah. So that's incredible to me. Go ahead, Z.
No, so what I was curious about, so you said you had your struggles your freshman year, sophomore year to becoming conference champion. And what was the transition to going from, the adjustment to college and the struggles and the coaches not necessarily believing to you, to being the conference champion the next year? I mean, what was that process for you year over year?
Well, when she told me that, I was like, oh, I'm gonna show her. Like that sparked something in me. Like I was just like, oh, like when she told me a D2 school, I'm just like, what?
Like you tripping.
Like when I can't believe. Like that just played in the back of my mind that my sophomore year, like every practice, I'm busting my butt off, working hard. And I had already talked to my parents. I'm like, I'm transferring. I'm not staying here because I cannot be under a coach that doesn't believe in me.
Right. Do you think the coach really didn't believe in you, or do you think she kind of said that some coaches say crazy stuff to light a fire under you? Do you think it was one of those things, or do you really think she kind of really was like a kind of a hater type? Like she really thought you should have went D2?
She was Russian.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was just different. Like. Yeah. She wasn't loving. Like she showed
thorough.
Yeah. No filter.
Yeah, but that's too. I mean,
and I'm sensitive, so I need that. Like, I grew up in my dad. He showed all of my siblings and I like tough love, and he just never adjusted. Mom, she knew how to cater to each one of her kids. Yeah, so it was just like she accommodated us, and I need that. And my dad, he just never got that. And so as a coach, it's just like it's important to know your athletes as well. And that's something I've learned when I was a head track coach. Like, I can't treat all my athletes the same. Some of them I have to baby them, and some of them I have to show them tough love. So right. And that's part of being a coach. Like, you have to be able to check and adjust. You can't treat everyone the same.
You can't. And then, like you said, you talked about something which is great. So after college, like, what did you do? I know you said you were coaching, or if you are coaching now, like, tell us about your coaching experience. So you were coaching as a jumper, or just a track coach in general?
I was a head track coach, so I was in charge of the entire girls track and field program.
Where at?
At Waller High School.
Oh, shout out to Waller High School. So hey.
So I was there, and gosh, I was like 24. Man. I didn't think they would take me seriously.
Why is that? You're a Division I athlete.
Because, like, head track coaches, they're older, like, they're more seasoned. So I just felt like, being that young, and then the girls, they wasn't that much older than, I wasn't that much older than them.
So you don't think they would respect you as much?
Yeah. Oh, but they did.
Okay. Oh, okay. You put your foot down.
But yeah. So my head basketball coach in high school, my senior year, she was a head basketball coach at Waller. And so I started off at the junior high my first year teaching and coaching, and then a head coach position opened up, and I was like, I don't know if they're going to take me serious. And she talked me into applying for the position. And then one of my mentors at the time reached out, and he was like, I know you're going to apply for that position. And I'm just like, And so I ended up putting my name in a hat, and I didn't get the position at first. They actually selected a guy. And so I was just like, and during that time I was recovering from a surgery, like my lung collapsed.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I'm happy you made it past that. That's
huge. It was the second time. So it happened the first time I was a freshman in high school. It was during a basketball game.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Jesus. Like, was there anything, like, was there something that you were doing wrong, or was it just
was
your
spontaneous?
Body? Wow.
Spontaneous. And the doctor said, I was thin and athletic, and it occurs. And, thin and athletic, young feet, I guess, just something that was common. That's the only, I guess, correlation they had, thin and athletic. And so I fit the description. So spontaneous, I was getting ready for a basketball game freshman year on varsity. And
nice. I like how you put that into freshman.
On varsity.
That's huge.
In
Texas. That's nice, bro.
So yeah, I was warming up and getting ready for first quarter, and I had bent down to tie my shoe, and I got up and I felt the sharp pain, and I'm just like, okay, that's weird. I thought it was gonna go away. Yeah. And so I did the jump ball.
Like, oh my gosh.
Yes. So I went in there and won the tip, and then the point guard, she passed me the ball, and I penetrate to the goal. Like, I'll do something, but I couldn't move. And I passed her the ball back, and
wow,
they looking like, okay, something ain't right. She passed me the ball back. Like, we literally playing hot potato.
Right, like literally, like she's passed you the ball. Like, you better go to work in the paint.
And so one of my teammates scored, and I walked to the bench, and I told my coach to take me out. He called a timeout. He was like, something ain't right.
What's going on? Yeah.
So he got my mom's attention. She came over there, and I was telling him I feel this sharp pain. I don't know what's going on. So my mom thought I had gas or something. So she goes and give me a Coke.
Oh my God.
And she was just like, if it doesn't get better by halftime, she's gonna take me to the emergency room. So she took me, it didn't get better. Took me to the emergency room, and we was in a waiting room. They ran the test, waiting room, and I'm like, Mom, my chest is popping. And so my mom was like, hey, what's going on? Like, can we see someone? And they rushed me back to the they rushed me back into the like emergency room area, and the doctor came in. He was just like, I have to, we have to perform surgery right now. Like, your lung collapsed over 80%. And my dad was like, well, he wanted to have me life flighted to a hospital in Houston.
Right.
And the doctor was like, she's not going to make it.
Really? Oh my God.
Yeah,
that's scary. And you heard her say that? You heard the doctor say that?
Yeah.
Like, at that point, I'm pretty sure that was years ago. But like, what were you thinking? Like, what were some of the thoughts? Like, I'm really not gonna make it out here. Like,
I knew they wasn't going. I knew my dad wasn't going to go against the doctors.
Yeah.
Yeah, what he said. So I was like, okay, if we gotta, do the surgery here. I mean, it happened so quick. It was just like they had to. Like, I didn't go into like an operating room or nothing. Like, I was literally like in the ER, like, when you're in an emergency waiting room, and then they have it's like the waiting room area. That's what it was. And so we had the surgery right there.
Hey,
like, next thing you know, I was knocked out. And when I woke up, I had a chest tube in my side. And I missed the first half of district. So we were, in season. It happened. It was right before New Year's.
Oh my God!
Right before New Year's, and so I missed the first half of district, but I came back the second half.
Dang. So like, did it slow you down at all, or did you pick up right where you left off, or
mentally? What was it like?
That too.
Coming back, you were what, in 10th grade?
I was in 9th grade.
She was a freshman. She was a freshman. Mm-hmm. She was a freshman basketball player on varsity. Mm-hmm. And you were starting what? You said guard.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me too.
What was the process for you and for your parents after having surgery to come back? Yeah.
A lot of people didn't support their decision to let me come back and play. They felt like, sports should have been over for me. Right. And my parents, they always allowed me to make decisions. Right. Like, they value my opinion. And so I wanted to come back. I mean, that's good. The recovery, I was in the hospital for a week. And luckily it was during that time, like, we were actually on break. It was before New Year. So it was like in December. So we was on a break, our Christmas break. So I set out the first half of district, and that was tough, watching my teammates, and I'm like, Coach, like, when can I come back? And I'm waiting to get released. So I was anxious, ready. And so I remember the game before I came back, we was at an away game, and I was like, Coach, are you gonna let me play next game? I'm released. And I think he was nervous too, because it was like, he don't
know what they expect. He don't know how many minutes to play you. He don't know if you're really in shape. Yeah. And
so he was like, if you make this shot, you can play. And when I tell you nothing but net, I was like, I'm ready.
Let's go.
So yeah, I came back the second half. I actually got I finished off, let's see, I made second team all district.
Wow.
Man, and we made it to the playoffs. So yeah, I came back and I ended up running track, and I went to state. I made it to state. Made it to state.
That is beautiful. Like I said, I heard you when we were talking before Z's came on. Like, basketball is like your first love and things like that. And for a lot of people, it is. Basketball is an easy sport. Well, not easy. It's very difficult, but it's just fun, overall. Just for the people. Like, how tall are you? Like, what are your dynamics? Like, how tall are you?
5'9".
You're 5'9".
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Like, when you were in freshman year of high school, like, how tall were you then?
Maybe like 5'6".
Really? Is that tall? I guess that's pretty tall for a high school. Yeah, that's pretty tall.
It's over average, maybe 5'7" at the most.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. So what are the size of like most jumpers at the collegiate level? Like, they're somewhere around like the same, right? Like, they're not like 6 feet.
No, some of them are short.
Yeah, I
I was a
noticed
tall
that.
jumper.
Yeah.
And I have long legs too, so I had an advantage.
Yeah. Oh, that's an advantage, right? If you have longer
Mm-hmm.
legs. Okay.
Because I
So
can cover more ground.
right.
But when you're
Okay.
explosive, like I said, when you bound, that bound will get you like further, like versus
Oh,
a
okay.
step.
Right. And you, like
Yeah.
you said, you were at your first part of your career, like you said, you were stepping, but once you learned to bound, that's where you pretty much made all the distance. Well, made up the difference between getting
I
better.
don't think I ever learned how to bound as a jumper. Like I didn't
Oh,
use
really? Oh, you said
mhm.
doing your coaching. That when you
During my
that's
coaching.
when you picked it up. So you didn't even actually
Hmm.
do it when you
Like it didn't
were
click to
competing.
me. Like I knew, like I would watch myself on film, and I'm like, dang, like I'm still holding myself back. Like I'm not fully extending,
Right.
and so it was still like it was like a step, a half step, and a half bound. I just for some reason it never clicked, and it's so funny because as a coach, I can show my girls how to do it, like what it's supposed to look like. But when I was competing, I was not doing that.
Man, like I said, it makes all the difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably got about less than about 6 minutes. For the last half, man, I want to talk to you about a little something. I know me and you were chatting a little bit. You say you're rooting for CP3 in the NBA Finals. So how do you think it's going so far? So the Suns are up 2-0, man. I mean, what tomorrow they playing the Bucks in Milwaukee.
In Milwaukee.
You know, so how are you feeling about the series? Do you think the Suns are going to sweep them? Do you think they can hold on for the win?
I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I think
Okay.
the Suns, they'll win Game 6.
Okay, so
I give them Game 6.
okay, so you think it's gonna go 6 games? So you think the Bucks are gonna get 2 games at least?
Yeah, it's hard to win away, so I think
Yeah.
they're gonna still win.
Yeah.
And the Bucks have the best home record in the playoffs too, so they have been tough at home. Yeah,
they're tough at home. I mean, one thing about the Bucks, like I said, with Giannis, I mean, he put up like 40 plus last game.
42.
I mean, they got to step up, man. Like, I don't know if you've been watching, but like Chris Middleton, he shows up sometimes, and then sometimes
at
he
home.
doesn't show up.
At home.
And Drew Holiday, like,
at home, they show up at home.
Yeah, man. But I mean, so you got the Suns winning in 6. So who's your favorite player on the Suns? Is it CP3 or is it Devin Booker? Who's
Chris Paul?
Chris Paul. Okay. So why you like Chris Paul?
Just I feel like his fight. I feel like he's doing it the long way. Like he's not, on these super teams. Like
I agree.
he getting it. Yeah. Like I feel like the right way.
You're
so
right.
I respect him for that. I know it was a couple of times where I thought like he had a good chance of winning, but injuries. And so the fact that he's persevered, like he's been through so much, and he didn't give up on his dream, his goal. I know is to get a ring. And so I know when he was on the Clippers, I thought, he was going to get one. And then when he played for the Rockets,
oh my God.
They
were so close. They were up 3-1. They were up 3-1. My man got hurt.
Yes.
And then they lost. How do you lose 3-1? And this is what the KD Steph Warriors. They was punishing them.
Yes. And I always said, if he would have stayed healthy, they were going to win.
Yeah, they lost to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. They were up 3-1.
Yeah,
3-1.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. And ultimately ended up losing when he got hurt, man. But
yeah.
So, like you said, Suns in 6. Anybody want to give a shout out before you get out of here?
My cousin Kennedy Flannel. So she competed.
Yeah.
Yes. So she competed in Oregon for a spot at the Olympics. Nice. She did qualify, but she did well. Like she's still young. Yeah. She's at the University of Texas. So just want to say I'm proud of her. Like, and keep going.
Outstanding.
Yeah, she did great. I didn't make it that far.
Yeah, that's
but
great.
I remember as a coach, she was jumping. Like she actually jumped. She did long and triple jump and sprinter. But in college, you have like the coaches, they recruit for each event. So she didn't have to stretch herself thin, and so she's strictly focused on the sprinting. So
Yeah, man. Shout out to Kennedy, man. I don't know if you missed it. We had an episode where we actually shouted her out on it, man. So I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed it and her family. And shout out to her. You know, like I said, she's young. She got, what is she, a freshman or sophomore?
She's a junior. Mm-hmm.
She's a junior. So I mean, she's got years left, man. I mean, she's run what 200 meters.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Shout out to her, man. And also, like, what are you doing nowadays? Like, what is your outside of track and field and coaching and being a jumper? Like, what is your career path now? Like, what do you have any business ventures?
Yeah, so I coach and I taught school for 5 years and I decided to do a career change. And so now I'm in human resources. I work for one of the top aerospace companies in the US. So
nice.
I'm doing that. That's my, I guess, 9 to 5. And then also, I'm also a realtor. So I do that part-time.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you're a realtor. What's your realtor business, or how can people contact you if they're looking for a home? Are you licensed in Texas or all over? Where? I'm
licensed in Texas. I'm on Instagram at closewithalaysha.
Okay.
Yeah, and so as far as that's the best way to get in contact with me, because from there, you know, I have my website on there. I just switched brokers, so now I'm with EXP Realty. So my email address is alaysha.ford@exprealty.com. So
okay, all right.
We'll put it up there.
All right, no doubt. So hey, if you guys are looking for a home in the Texas area,
yes, or looking to sell,
hey, looking to sell, hit her up. All right,
it is a seller's market, so
it is. It's tough out there. Believe me, I know. But hey, Alaysha, thanks for coming on. You were great. You know, feel free to come on again. And thanks for having, like I said, coming on.
Yes, anytime. I enjoy you guys.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's great. So, hey, that concludes our show, everybody. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Like I said, if you're in the housing market in the Texas area, hit her up. Buy her, selling, you know, she'll take care of you. So we'll see you next show, and take it easy.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye.